You who have been pregnant, do you ever name the baby in the womb before it is given its real name? Many parents I've heard call the baby in the womb the bean. I'm sure because it looks like a bean on all the technology. Often I've offered the name Gary. Gary in the womb. I call him or her. I got that idea from Prince, who changed his name 3 times and finally ended up with the artist formerly known as Prince. That's right. Thank you, Joe. Naming can give a thing reality. Naming can give a thing presence. Naming can give a thing almost being. Unless the thing is making you sick, and I will never understand how you who get nauseous with each pregnancy do it again and again and again. But even then, the feeling of that presence inside of you is somewhat amorphous until actually you feel it for the first time. You feel that wee one kick, roll over maybe, when you know it is alive and well within you. It is called the quickening. It happens around mid-pregnancy, they tell me, maybe the 4th or 5th month, but it is unmistakable. It takes you young moms aback every time. It is awesome, and it is scary, and it makes it all so real. Quickening can be an intensification of what is already there. Something is felt. Something becomes conscious. We become all of a sudden awake to this new reality. It is accelerated growth. It is amazing. Quickening can describe way more than that kick of this invisible little baby in the womb. But for all of us, anytime we really feel something move inside of us, something is stirred up inside of us, awakened, revitalized, that's also its own sort of quickening. Perhaps it is moments that shows that some know when an acquaintance turns toward friendship, or when all of a sudden a friendship turns towards romance. There is this quickening, this intensification of care and of desire. There's nothing like it, because they have a sense that it can change their life. It can lead us to making commitments we would never have imagined. Quickening can occur when something stimulates us. My interest in what she is saying quickened, made my heart beat faster within me. Inspiration is that for me. Sometimes I feel it when I'm hearing a good homily like when I was growing up and a baby priest got sent to our parish, and I never heard things like that before, and I'd leave church thinking, even as a 7th, 8th grader, thinking about what he said and how it touched something in me, and I never had that before. And it's part of what made me open my heart to being a priest, is because, gosh, if his homilies did that for me, could I ever be able to do that for others? This moment of inspiration when something feels like it's quickened within me. Inspiration definitely is that for me, but so is a really, really good book. Or when somebody says something, or I meet someone who is walking the walk. It's like that baby kicking inside of me, all over again. Something in me comes to life. It's like I'm entering a new phase of active growing. It's what happens, I'm suspecting, to the seed in the soil, that too is a quickening. Life energy begins to flow again. It's anything but dull. It's the opposite of dull. Quickening means to be made alive. The Spirit of God quickens within us. Always there it is, and now sort of brought to a boil. The Spirit of love is brought to a boil within us. Perhaps the resurrection of the Christ was a quickening, a kick big enough to catapult him right outside of that grave into a whole new level of life. Imagine, my friends, imagine the church, the universal church, and our little company here at the CSC this morning, and all of our friends tuning in from home who are with us from their homes, and I mean with us right now at this moment. Imagine the church as a huge, pregnant woman. Imagine that we as a community have this in us. This Spirit of God, by virtue of our creation in the image and likeness. But we don't feel it. We don't feel it much all the time, for sure. And then something quickens that Spirit of the living God in me, in us. And we feel her kick. And we remember this power in us for life. This power in us to do what is ours to do. What is about to happen here among us this morning is a rare experience for us at the Catholic Student Center. It's so important that if it is not done on Holy Saturday, it can only be done by a bishop of our church, one of the successors of the apostles, who come to the local church to celebrate it. Through these sacred rituals we are about to experience together, I, in the name of the universal church, call down that Spirit into this place, into them, these who are about to be confirmed, and for them, but also in all of us here and at home, and for all of us here, but also not just calling down. That image is totally inadequate for this mystery. It's also, in the same breath, unleashing that Spirit in us, in this place, into us and out of us. The Spirit of God into us and out of us, quickened in this portal, in this opening called confirmation. Confirmation for me, and if you're my age, this is probably true for you too. In our generation, it happened just after my first communion. I was just in second grade when I was confirmed. I did not have a clue what was going on. The only thing I remember is that my whole class and I were dressed in red graduation gowns at the age of 7. Bright red, overwhelmingly red, and that sensation has stayed with me since all these years. But now for us in the local church, it's moved to the junior high school years as the first chance they have to celebrate the sacrament. And we consider those years, and this is why we moved it there, because it's the beginning of an emerging adult here. This young person is at the beginning of emerging as an adult with a better sense of themselves and what they are about in the world. It's a marker for many that happens for us now at the same time as a bar mitzvah or a bar mitzvah would happen for the Jewish community. It marks a rite of passage, the beginning of adulthood, and an unleashing of the Spirit of God that makes that possible. It's the Spirit of God kicking inside of you, all of you, not just our confirmandi today, but all of us. It's the Spirit of God kicking inside of us in this place, letting you know she is here. She is here, letting you know she wants to get out. She wants to get out. It's when the God outside of us meets the God inside of us, and oh, the quickening. Here, Father Gary, come here. Put your hand right here on my pregnant belly. The baby's moving. The baby's moving inside of me. The baby's kicking. Come here, feel it. And so I do. And most of the time, I just smile like if I can really feel it. But sometimes I exclaim something as inarticulate as, wow. Wow. Sometimes it feels oh so faint. And other times, like this weird thing is saying, I am here, kicking, reaching toward my hand on the other side of that belly. What is this thing that moves? What is this tiny thing as yet unnamed? Letting it be known, I am alive, I am here. I will never forget the time several years back. I'm here 30 years now, maybe 15 years ago, about halftime so far. And the student comes walking over, and he said, is Father Gary here? They found me. I happen to be free. He said, can we talk? And I said, what's up? And he said, I've been feeling this movement in me. I don't know if he even used that word, but something inside I've never felt before. I don't know what it is. And I thought, I was sitting in class in one of the science buildings across the way, and I saw the cross lit up on the chapel, and I said, well, maybe I'll go over there and see if anybody can help me understand what this is going on in me. I don't know what to call it. Many don't know what to call it. Many have no clue what that is inside of them that all of a sudden they feel. But that student felt something. It was bothering him for a while. He couldn't name it. He didn't know what it was. He knew it wasn't bad, but he knew it was also somewhat scary and overwhelming. And so he saw that light and came over. And what ended up happening, long story short, is he realized it was a religious experience that he had never, ever been taught or explained in his whole life. He was having a religious experience. The spirit inside of him was starting to roll over and kick. And he named it. For the first time in his life, he named it for what it was. And that young man went on to become baptized in our church. And even more. But that's a whole nother homily. But there's so many of us, you guys, there's so many of us don't know what that is, that feeling that comes over us sometimes. That thing that brought us to tears that we weren't expecting. We had no clue what that was. We who were raised this way maybe have an easier, quicker name for it. But this young man naming it, something happened. Something happened. Would that it would be that obvious to me more of the time in me. Would that this grace kicking up a storm inside of me, saying, Gary, I'm here and I'm alive. And I just wanted you to know. Would that it would be that real in me, that quickening inside of me, inside you. Would that it would be that real to you that would make you smile. Or maybe even shiver. God's presence always does, you know. I still get goosebumps when I feel it. Goosebumps when it comes over me. A shiver down my spine. It's such a grace. Would that God would kick inside of me so I could rest my hand just here and feel the creator of the cosmos kicking, rolling over inside of me, reaching for me from the other side. Would that the God in me would leap inside of me at the recognition of God outside of me, like fetus John did in the womb of his mother Elizabeth. Fetus John, when he recognized God in the womb of Mary. And perhaps it was at that moment of quickening in Mary that made her stand up and proclaim before the world in song, "My soul proclaims the greatness of my God. My spirit rejoices in God, my Savior, for he has looked on me and my lowliness and called me blessed." That little fetus, Jesus, kicking in recognition of fetus John outside of him. And everything changed, including Mary. My friends, the same Spirit of the living God is in this place right now. Let yourself feel it. Be still enough, quiet enough, that you can let yourself feel it.